I don't know if you heard me or not, but I was saying how it's great to see a Don Larson, a Dr. Bobby Brown at OldTimers Day and have conversations with them and talk and hear some stories. The greatest stories of all, though, were Lou Pinella's. They were super. Lou's a great guy. Lou plays a lot of golf these days. He's down in Florida, plays a lot of golf, does some fishing, but he has some great experiences, not only as a player, but also as a manager. He did say this about his 1990 Reds team. He said it was the most talented team he was ever on. He said, but the 1978 Yankees, they knew how to win. How you like that? So here's my top 10. I got 10 players for you as we close out today. I've got 10 players for fantasy. You know some of these guys. Some of these guys are on, most of them, but they're hot here of late. Danny Santana for Texas. He's outfield, infield eligibility. He went 1 for 3 yesterday, a 2-run homer, and a 7-4 win against the White Sox. Over his last 8 games, Danny Santana, 12 for 29. That's a .414 batting average. He's not owned in a lot of leagues, and so if Danny Santana is available in your fantasy league, he's certainly worth a grab. How about Hanser Alberto for Baltimore? He went 2 for 5 yesterday with 2 doubles. He murders left-handed pitching. Yes, he does. And he's hitting .338 in the month of June. Adrian Sampson yesterday pitched very well for Texas. He gave up 1 earned run, threw 91 pitches in the win, 61 for strikes. In the month of June, Adrian Sampson is 3-1 and has a .348 ERA. If you're looking for a starting pitcher, I know it's Texas. I know the ball flies out of Arlington. But Sampson is having a good season and in the month of June pitching very well. Now, the Seattle Mariners, were they not the hottest team in April, and have they not been the worst team since? Really. Last place, let's see. I forgot. I didn't even read it a while ago because they're not relevant in the standings, so I did not tell you their record. Seattle 35-47. They're 15.5 games out in the American League West, and they are in last place. So they're trading away some players, okay? And they're bringing up players. One player that they've brought up, they got him in a trade with Philadelphia. That's J.P. Crawford. And Crawford did not start the year in the lineup. He has been brought on lately. And the reason I'm bringing up J.P. Crawford is he's now hitting .300 on the season. He went 4 for 4 yesterday. Friday night he went 3 for 4. He's been hot of late. He's been moved up to the second spot in the batting order for the Mariners. And he is in a great batting position at lineup. He's hitting .300. He plays shortstop. And I looked this morning in an ESPN leagues. He is only owned in 1.1% of leagues. So if you are in need of a middle infielder or a shortstop, I say go get J.P. Crawford because he's hitting the ball. And nobody seems to own him or want him. There you go. How about a guy I picked up a few weeks ago? Garrett Cooper. Lenny mentioned Garrett Cooper this morning on his show. In ESPN leagues, Garrett Cooper is owned in 14% of leagues. He's an outfielder, first base eligible player, and the bat can really hit. Okay, he went 3 for 5 yesterday. He had his 7th home run. He started the year, I think he was 0 for 13 to start the season. Okay, but he's now batting over .400 with 4 home runs in the month of June. He's hit in each of his last 13 games that he has batted. Now, he had a little bit of a forearm issue. He's missed 2 games, but he's back in the lineup. Okay, he has 6 multi-hit contests in June. This .324 average is worthy of a pickup in fantasy. He's only owned in 14% of leagues. So if Garrett Cooper is available in your league, you need to add him now. Rookie of the Year. I read some things in Twitter about who's going to be National League Rookie of the Year. And I don't know who you think it's going to be, but there's a first baseman over in New York people love to talk about. There's an outfielder in Atlanta. And those two guys get most of the discussion. Well, what about Fernando Tatis Jr.? Okay, let's talk about Fernando Tatis Jr. for possible NL Rookie of the Year. He went 2 for 4 yesterday, 3 runs scored. He's hitting .323 on the year, 8 home runs, 23 RBIs, 9 stolen bases. He may not give you the home runs that those other two guys do, but he gives you batting average, he gives you stolen bases, he gives you runs scored. He scored 3 yesterday. And he hits at the top of the Padres order. So, Tatis, now he's owned in most leagues. I only offer him to you because when you talk about Rookie of the Year, don't you have to include him in the discussion? I read yesterday that the Cincinnati Reds are anticipating their all-star second baseman to come back later this week. Yes, I did. Scooter Gennett, yes! The groin injury that has hindered him all year is healing, folks. And I read yesterday that he could return to the Reds as early as this Friday. 29-year-old. He's missed the entire season so far. But last year he did hit .310 with 23 home runs and an .847 OPS. And he's going to be hitting in warm weather at Great American Ballpark. Go get Scooter Gennett if he's available. In my league, he's only owned in 43% by teams in the leagues in ESPN. He may be available in your league, and if he is, go get Scooter Gennett today. He's going to be back this week. Yes! And now, here's an unknown player. At least he was unknown a couple of weeks ago. He may be well known now, and he may not be available any longer. But, the Pirates have struggled all year with who's going to be their shortstop. They called up Cole, the heralded rookie. That didn't pan out. So then they give the job to Kevin Newman. Well, he's having a 12-game hit streak. And during that 12-game hit streak, he's hitting 18 for 50 with 5 extra base hits, a .360 average over that 12-game hit streak. On the season, he's hitting .314. He went 2 for 6 yesterday. He's only owned in 4.9. That's almost not quite 5% of ESPN leagues. He's shortstop, second base eligible. If Kevin Newman is available, and he hits near the top of that Pirate lineup, by the way. If Kevin Newman is available, you need to go at him. He is the mystery man. He's the one we don't know much about. But I do know this. He hits the ball. And he's got a teammate who does pretty well at that too. But Newman has just come on the scene lately, been given the job, and he has performed very well leading off for the Pirates. And then batting behind him is Brian Reynolds, who continues to sustain his high average. He's now hitting .367 on the year. He went 2 for 3 yesterday, 2 for 4 Saturday, 1 for 4 Friday, and 3 for 4 last Wednesday. He is red hot, .367, 33 runs scored. He's a starter. He's an everyday player. I lumped these two together, Newman and Reynolds, because Reynolds is only owned in 29% of ESPN leagues. These are guys you got to have. If you have a need at shortstop or outfield, these are two guys who will do a great job. Now, another guy that's been given a new opportunity, Liam Hendriks for Oakland. I don't draft a lot of closers. In fact, I try not to draft closers at all because it never fails. Closers get hurt or somebody emerges. Last year, Blake Trinan emerged. He was a top 2 or 3 fantasy closer. This year, Blake Trinan can't pitch. I think he's hurt, and now he's on the IL. I know he's hurt. A shoulder problem, and that might explain why he can't throw strikes and why he can't get people out. He's on the IL, so Oakland needs a closer. And as I told you a few moments ago, the Oakland A's are in the playoff hunt. They're in that wild card race. So Hendricks is now the closer in Oakland while Trinan is out. He's 3-0. He's got a 1.49 ERA, 50 strikeouts. He's going to get that opportunity in Oakland to be the closer at least until we know more about Trinan. And if he's available, and he's available in a lot of formats, you may want to add Hendricks if you are in need of a closer. Finally today, my final player I want to talk about is Bobby Bradley. Yeah, Bobby Bradley a rookie first baseman for the Cleveland Indians. You know, Cleveland, they need some bats, they need some power, so they call up Bobby Bradley, who hit over 20 homers in the minor leagues, had a great year at AAA this year. He started yesterday in his first game for Cleveland, and he doubled in that first at bat. He had a .292 average at AAA. It appears he's going to get a good opportunity to play every day in Cleveland. I like Bobby Bradley. I like Bobby Bradley a lot. So go get you some Bobby Bradley for fantasy. Let's see how that bat hits playing in Cleveland. What a day. We talked about the Yankees. Yes, we talked about Old Timers Day. We talked about players to add. Talked about the schedule for today. I want to thank everyone for being in the chat room this morning, for giving me your input. Great show. I'm going to talk more tomorrow. I'll be with you 3 times tomorrow. I hope you're ready. Morning show. And then we've got the 6 o'clock show tomorrow night. And then I'm with Chappie, my good buddy, at 9 p.m. on Tuesday. So you want to hang around. A lot of fantasy news this week. And the questions I want to ask, we'll talk about some more tomorrow. When is Dylan Cease coming up, the pitcher for the White Sox? When will these pitchers for Jesus Luzardo, when's he due up for Oakland? You know, over the weekend we found out that Frankie Montas suspended 80 games. I looked at it. That means he's out for the year. Okay? So with Montas out, Oakland definitely has an opening in that rotation. And Luzardo pitched at AAA. We'll talk about that some tomorrow. But it appears that maybe he gets 1 or 2 more starts at the AAA level. And then Luzardo looks like he's ready to resume or assume a spot in that Oakland A rotation. However, over the weekend, reading the San Francisco Chronicle, the Athletic reported that side issues halted his rehab. He did. He's returned from shoulder surgery, and so we don't know about his situation. We do know Bob Melvin said, quoting, "I don't know if it's an oblique or he's just feeling a little bit on the side. So we're cutting back on him for a little bit here to get him healthy. It's not the arm, which is good." So let's see that's Manea, not Luzardo. I'm getting confused. That's Manea. Luzardo is going to be back in a couple weeks. Manea was rehabbing, and now he's been shut down temporarily, not for arm, shoulder problems, but for an oblique. So you've got Jesus Luzardo. You've got Manea coming up to Oakland. Let's talk about Luzardo just a moment before we close the show, and I will talk about him some more tomorrow. But he did throw 75 pitches over the weekend. He allowed 2 runs and 5 strikeouts, so they're increasing his volume of pitches. It looks like he may have maybe 2 more starts at AAA, and then we're going to see him. So Manea and Luzardo are pitchers to look at. The setback to Manea is minor, it appears, and Luzardo is amping it up. So there you go. Let's close it out. Thank you for being with me today. Go watch some baseball tonight. There are 7 games on the slate. Support our podcasters. I want to thank Lenny. I want to thank Andrea. All you guys in the chat room. You're the ones that make this show work. Without you, there is no show. Zelmo, DK Lush, Cha-Cha. Just, again, thank you for everybody being with me. Mark, good to talk to you this morning. Thank you for your input from Philly. And you guys, again, George, thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. This is Arnie from Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports.